do you need to financially have more value out of the data to offset that cost, or are the business gains of that intel?
Data coming in, and you own it, so you have to govern the parameters for the data that you're set.
First, we talked about the governance.
Yeah. Governance.
Yeah, and the second step would be integration of this data.
Guys, episode 19.
No, I mean, we say this every... It can't be 19.
It's definitely 19. We say it every week because we started this, I don't know how many months ago.
But they've not changed the lights in the secret bunker.
No,
I thought...
no, it's yeah.
It must be to accentuate our...
garage that we might be in that we can't possibly confirm.
It accentuates our guest's
exactly.
shirt.
So episode 19, folks, of the InfoMatters podcast, and today we thought we'd talk about... there's a bit of a theme in the podcast as well. It's not either cybersecurity... AI always features, and we'll introduce it, I guess,
heavily
shortly.
at the moment.
And digitization is the theme of the evening. So, but first, Daniel, the business of the
podcast.
podcast.
Again, so we're on episode 19, and welcome back. I've changed my hat. He hasn't changed his shirt, although we are a week apart. You know what to do. Like and subscribe if you do like the feed. If you did watch the last show, which was fabulous, we had a guest, Ashita from Microsoft, and it was simply brilliant. So hopefully we can follow on that theme. If you are looking for a career change, you're looking for information, you want to talk to us about some of the topics that we've had on the show, ring the bell first and like it.
Yeah.
And you might win a goodie pack. We've gone from mouse pads and t-shirts to umbrellas, hats, key rings, and USB sticks.
Yeah.
You can also win something large. But put it in the comments box below. And anyway, can you introduce our next guest, which we do know?
I was about to say, do we know Pramod? Yes, I think we know Pramod.
Welcome to the show, Pramod. It's a pleasure.
The world is a village, but Pramod, thank you for joining us. You come to us live. Of course you're live. You're here from a certain large that we might or may not have worked in the past. But yes, where we've all been in the world is a bit of a village.
We did.
Well, when we reach out for guests, we bring in the most fantastic of people. And so, Pramod, a little introduction to our lovely audience. Go for it.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for inviting me.
Welcome, mate.
My name is Pramod. I work for DHL in IT services.
He named it. We all did it.
No, it's fine, by the way.
It was proud. I loved working there. It was a great time.
We spent many happy years there,
Yeah, and I head the department for cloud data solutions and analytics, AI.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, probably when we started the show, the first 10 episodes, we were always talking about data.
Yeah.
And you know what you do with data? You do a dump. And it just tickles me because, you know, when you think of a dump, you think of something different. And now we've got, I wonder how AI can change my dumping with a deep fake.
And of course, data, of course, is the new oil as well, we know.
So we're talking about AI and digitization, I believe we're going to cover. So, Kenny, give us a question.
No, I live a digital life. Most of my and my primary role in recent years has been cybersecurity, so it's hard. Well, it's a challenge to maintain a digital life and be secure. I believe I've mostly nailed it. Not a challenge for you people that might be otherwise inclined to hack one. Digitization to you, Pramod, is something obviously something you do professionally.
What does it mean to you? What is digitization in your terms, especially in the
give it a wrap
the scope of your role? Because then we can pick on you.
Nicely.
So I would say it's a extended life cycle of business intelligence system.
Okay.
Interesting. Yep.
Make it very simple, it's like to use your data and how can I increase my revenue, customer targets.
Yep.
As you said,
value from the data. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How can I get more value of it, and how can I use it responsibly? That's important.
Sure, of course. Yep.
With a new EU Responsible AI Act is coming, probably next year.
Interesting. Yeah.
So it's all about know your data, own your data, and use your data.
Okay.
Know your data. What was that? Know your data, use your data, and own your data.
Yes.
Like that. That's
if you've got clean data, do you get?
Yeah, I was going to say. You know, and
that's why you said you have to own your data, so you make it clean.
Oh, I mean, that's like going, Danny, did you do that report? Did you do that dump? Yeah. It's rubbish. Pramod did it.
I mean,
and what are the steps to go about that?
Yeah.
So you want your data first, you own it. What are your steps to ensure that?
To ensure it's clean, accurate,
the
all that kind of good
digitization
stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think it starts off with the process. I would say your system. It starts with the end user. Any typical company should have a process.
Yep.
If you don't have one, I know.
Should have a process.
I like this. Should
have a process. Might have a process, but yeah, we know where you're going. Yeah.
Well, at least you have something a process.
Somebody's given it some thought.
Some-
Yeah, that's
and
the
then,
one.
So
That's-
because that process will translate into a system.
Yep.
And for example, if you have a customer service using your system to answer a response to a customer,
Yep.
he should have his name,
All the kind
Sure,
of,
yeah, yeah.
all the essential,
The basics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all the stuff so that you can deliver better service.
So you mean
that sort
set
of
up service now properly?
Yeah.
When they raise a ticket, you know who they are. Yeah.
exactly, and you know the data. So you're not talking to, you think, oh, it's Bob who's calling, but actually
Bob, love you already.
Pramod,
Pramod, he's
Bob,
going
Bob,
home.
Bob always features
You
on the
know,
show.
you're going home with an umbrella for sure. If I don't squeeze Bob in, you've just done it for me.
Oh, sorry.
I love it. No, brilliant. Actually,
Bob,
brilliant.
Bob is a fictitious AI character that seems to kind of underpin a lot of our
I do it
conversations.
kind of subconsciously because I'll go,
Yeah,
give
yeah.
it a Bob, and
Yeah.
I think you've picked up. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway.
Okay, I'll use Jan then.
No,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, keep it.
It's a
Yeah.
common name. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So if Jan, if you think Jan is calling and actually it's a Bob who's talking,
Yeah.
then yeah, you're telling wrong details to the customer.
I
So that's why you need to know your data. You need to own your data to make sure it's up to date,
Yep.
and then you need to know how to use your data.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the last step of analytics.
The bit in the middle is kind of heavily governed by, certainly in the EU, with the likes of GDPR, data protection, all that kind of stuff. But the interesting part for us in the show is always that when you move into the appropriate use of that data, you can learn a lot. So if we're talking, it sounds like we're talking a little bit on service management or incident management, you can look at historical data to look for trends. You can look at historical data to work out where best to service improve, that sort of stuff. Is that what you're seeing? Are we using data, particularly in your world, to trend the right way into that sort of stuff? Or is it just a mass data collection, or what's your view?
Well, we do use the data from service desk and understand the problem
Yep.
and see how we can predict, prevent.
Become
proactively,
predictable. There's that word again.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem is, again, own your data, which means that if you key in garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
We like the term shit in, shit out, but
Yeah.
I think
But how do you? So if you own your data, I mean, you'd have to give an example, I suppose, of data coming in
Yeah.
and you own it. So you have to govern the parameters for the data that you're set
yeah.
before you
Yes.
digitize it or you did
Yeah.
analytic
Yeah.
based on it. Oh, okay.
So first step, giving a good example of service management. If you get an incident, I think at least a guy who's working on incident should ensure why this problem happened,
Yeah.
what is the kind of
Root cause.
resolution,
Yep.
and he has to ensure he documents it
Yep.
Yeah,
properly.
yeah, of course, yeah, yeah.
If he is unable to document it correctly, then when you apply this data into your LLM models or the future models,
Yeah.
it cannot infer the information and say, okay, if this is the problem, this is the prescription
This is the
of the
solution.
problem.
Exactly.
So it's quite
And you mentioned, excuse me, LLMs there. So let's go back to the obvious conversation. Is AI, and I know, or we know that some of these tools are now featuring AI elements for the efficiencies of that we know they provide. But I imagine in within the world of you have to use data accurately.
That's DHL for those out
Yeah,
there that
yeah,
couldn't quite
exactly.
get the Glaswegian accent.
Yeah, I'm just trying to try the anonymous, but that's not going to work. DHL. So you within that you teach these language models and I'm always keen to learn if you're seeing the benefits of that.
Yeah.
That the world would believe we have, be that vendor choice or because of other tools. You're seeing that?
Yes, I think in analytics space, it's drastically changing every day.
Right.
I mean,
The pace of change is
yes,
just
and technology for a large organization, you have to adopt, or you need to adopt to a strategy first.
Yeah.
Because the total cost of ownership is very, very critical, because some of
Yep.
them into the cloud are quite expensive. It's
Yeah,
just,
sure.
So also you need to look at, okay, what is the strategy? At what areas within the organization do I need to digitize?
Yep.
And I think that's the whole process of driving a digital strategy within the organization. It's
Sure.
really
Because a lot of this digitization, by virtue of being digital, requires storage, compute, all that kind of stuff. And we've, for anyone that's been involved in cloud tech for years, I have, Danny has, we all have. You trade your capital cost for your OPEX cost, and your OPEX cost can be stupid. And everyone says, well, I don't need to pay 20 grand, but I can pay $1,000 a month. But the $1,000 a month rolls forever, and invariably that scales as your needs scale.
Yes.
But you must. Sorry, go on, Kenny.
Now, I'm just going to say, at what point does digitization? Do you need to financially have more value out of the data to offset that cost, or are the business gains of that intel valuable? I mean, I don't quite know how you assess that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are various models where a organization can adopt. So one simple thing is you can start off with a small proof of concept, like minimum
sure. I
viable
was going
product,
yeah.
because then you can learn from the minimum viable product or a proof of concept.
Talking our language.
Yeah, and then you can see, okay, will this yield the respective benefits?
Sure. So I mean, your governance needs to be in place. It's what I'm just trying to get my head around, that owning the data.
Yeah.
Is making sure that data is correct before pilots, which we all do. I mean, how many times have we had data from Active Directory that's like bin,
dear Lord, there's that
but it's all you've
again,
got
you
because
know.
Excel had it when DHL got it, and it's a different company on different domains. Well, that's all you've got to use. You have to kind of own it.
We've talked about the authoritative sources for any amount of detail in an enterprise, and there's no one fixed source because the numbers invariably never match. However, when it comes to owning the data, I guess there's two views. One, in the enterprise, there's certain proportions of that data that are owned by the enterprise, and there's proportions of that data that are owned by the individual because they pertain to the individual, and under certain regulations they have to maintain control. Bit of a fight there, or conflict, right?
Yeah.
Is that?
But an end user can put in any data they want, and you take it for granted, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's what it all starts with the process, right? I think you did a very good example of Active Directory where most of the organizations suffer
massively.
And that started with employee onboarding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, me personally, after I left DHL, I went to Novartis. Yeah. And my onboarding was that I think it's 521, so it's your ID, your encryption. They got my name wrong. So in Active Directory, I was already buggered from the outset. Where was the quality control and the governance? Well, it's actually in my name. But the IAM team got it wrong.
One of these things you can never change. You'll be stuck with it for life.
But it was wrong.
Yeah.
And it's still with me now, so I've gone to a sister company of it, and my UID is wrong.
You still have to log in.
Because that was wrong. So you need those clarity, you need those controls in place.
But that's a good example of where when you get onboarding really wrong, or dare we say simply wrong, that can haunt you. Can follow you forever. I mean, there's certain elements of that course can change.
Yeah. For example, I mean, you talked about cybersecurity. So the very basic thing is, during an employee onboarding, let's say if Kenny is working for sales and you're working only for Prague region, you have to know that you need to access only the Prague region data.
Of course.
What if something is wrongly set up and you might...
And I'm privy to other regions.
Or
you're in the wrong OU.
Of course. You get access to
that's where the data protection officer comes to a picture and says, hey, that's a non-compliance.
Mm-hmm.
So you might need to relook at it, and I mean that's how the whole governance process kicks in.
I see.
So first process.
Yes,
that's mega key.
Get the process right. Yeah.
And then understand, okay, how do you measure data quality? Do you have, if there's a first name field, expect a first name field. Does it take your English alphabetical characters, or you have your special characters in the Eastern European languages? So different settings. Which department? That should be aligned because some of the organization goes for reorganization. So you need to maintain the historical input, and then the what level of classification.
Exactly, and that can kind of follow. I mean, that's obvious. Onboarding's get that data right because you have to be able to uniquely identify.
Well, we had Stuart Watkins, and they're doing it for NASA. It's like, don't get that wrong.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, we just sent Bob to space with his kitten. Wrong person.
Wrong Bob.
Wrong Bob.
Imagine, a lot of Bobs you could get wrong. I mean, at that end of it, you definitely need to uniquely identify people and that sort of stuff, and that carries through your process into. I imagine the execution of your data strategy as to how you exploit that in the appropriate way. Of course, is that because certain elements of that. If I'm constantly dropping my laptop on its corner, they're going to kick me down, shoot me in the car park because there's clearly a problem there, or am I just?
Sounds like you've been there.
Or have I got special needs? And I mean that.
Sounds like you've been there.
Yeah, and I mean that in the appropriate way.
So we got data, we got process.
First, we talked about the governance.
Governance.
And the second step would be integration of this data because you get the data.
Because you've got many systems.
And how because one system like Active Directory where you have your users profiles, everything, and you might need to have the transactional systems where the actual transaction happens. And now how do you link back various transaction systems? And you build your, let's say, the initial lakehouse architecture. There are many architectures.
Okay.
So you build your BI system first. And then using that, you can have you can go for different maturity models. Like, okay, now I have the data in an integrated data warehouse. Now, how can I use the data?
How can I?
Yeah, right.
Or a data lake, or
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
it's using. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also at the same time, you need to know the data literacy as well, because
Mhm.
each organization, when you go to the next step of analytics, everybody has a great idea to implement. So now,
Yeah.
to do implement a great idea analytics, you need to know, okay, if I talk about a customer, what
Mhm.
is the go-to system, the single source of truth that you mentioned?
Yes, yes, yes.
So which system is my single source of truth? Because
Gotcha,
the
yeah.
customer can be.
Because of
So
course.
we actually talked with a previous guest
Yeah.
last week, using Power BI, and
Yeah.
and dashboard analytics, that using AI, that it is quite overwhelming. So let's say we're using Power BI as the tool.
Yeah.
The data goes in there. That's your point. That's your point of truth, isn't it? That's going to tell you.
Well, it depends who designed or where this dashboard is designed or where is picking up the data. The data lineage is very important. So if
Yeah.
the analytics dashboard is not taking the right customer
Right. Yeah.
with the right source system,
Yeah.
because a customer can be defined by the sales organization,
Yeah.
but a finance organization, finance department can have an extended definition of a customer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He can have a different view of a customer. But you need to know, okay, the customer is defined by the sales organization, so they
Mhm.
own.
And this is your data. This
Yeah.
is the data that's
Data,
got to be
you
correct.
maintain
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
The finance guys who has an extension, because they might know what is the revenue of
'Cause
this
they're finance.
customer.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they need to know the revenue fields of the customer data, so they own the fields. So it's that's how.
So you could have a massive set of customer, but a subset of data is owned in different areas.
Yeah. So entity, customer, and then you have the lot of fields which defines how the
So
customer can look like.
so it's not so much the record. I mean, I'm talking in low level details here. It's the fields in the record
The
are,
fields, yeah.
are,
So
are
you've got-
owned elsewhere.
We've gone from
Yeah.
end user data.
Yeah.
Now it's departmental
Data. Yeah.
Then it's third party data.
Yeah.
Then it's where does the data reside? Is it
Yeah.
on prem? Is it outside the network?
And
Is
I was
it
going to
through-
say, anyway, we talked about this.
So now we're
with,
talking about
yeah,
infrastructure. Where does it meet the infrastructure?
With brother Joel, who may be back as a co-host, we shall see. And we talked about data lakes, which of course is for the most part massive. It can be unordered data, sometimes is ordered, where you can make independent, or different functions can make independent queries of that. Now, when you've got all of that data, how do you maintain? How do you determine the likes of under GDPR legitimate use? So you've got a lot of data, but nobody's using it. So do you get show of it, or do
But it's
you?
corporate data, though, isn't it? We're talking.
Yeah, but they're still obligated. If it's corporate data, but it's still customer data, there's still legitimate use clauses or obligations on the company to
I
maintain
suppose that's
that.
for.
Yeah.
Is that how
So
you
how
capture
do you,
the data?
How do you, when you've got all this data, determine who needs to own what?
Yeah, so that's again starts off with the data cataloging. So
Right.
data catalog will tell you, okay, this is my data catalog, or what's the definition of a customer?
Yep.
What's the definition of a shipment? What's the definition of an address?
Yeah, and if you get that
Yeah.
wrong, I don't get.
Yeah.
I don't get my watch in the post from Switzerland.
and
I
you've got the
get
ultimate
a plastic
and
shoe
you've got the
from
ultimate
Bob.
definition of shit in, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. And shit's coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah, exactly.
And that's what for any organization, you need to have a data literacy program as well, part of the training. So at least you know, okay, if my boss is asking a report,
Yeah.
I should know what
Value,
value
or what field is
field
telling
to
you.
Sure,
Yes, I
or
see,
wh-
I
which
see.
is the go-to system.
Yeah.
And if I have a nice chatbot, hey, my boss is asking a customer report for this Prague region for this particular product.
We were talking about the other week when we had to sheet it in where but you can use ChatGPT Copilot to reorg your Power BI reports.
That's what I was getting
you'd
at.
have to, historically, you'd have to write an SQL query, I imagine. Now you just chat to it, and it says,
you need to
no worries,
script.
I'll give you it in pink.
Basically,
or
the
blue.
word script, PowerShell. Bye.
Yeah, that's all gone.
Copilots
That's- yeah,
now. Copilots
absolutely. So
now.
you and I sorted.
Yeah.
But I imagine, have you got AI in your tool set? Of course you have.
Yes, of course. I think you also did a very good introduction to Copilot,
Yeah.
because that's going to be a game changer.
ChatGPT on steroids.
Uh,
No, she said it helps us be heroes. I'll never forget that.
So sidekick, it helps you be a hero.
Yes, that was it. Yeah.
T-shirt tomorrow.
So,
Sidekick.
yeah.
No, actually, I'm a hero.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Powered
Pramod.
by. Yeah.
Yeah, powered by.
Yeah.
So
Bob.
I think before the days of pre-analytics,
Yeah.
out of 7 billion people, for example, there were intelligent people, maybe 1-2%.
I haven't got that far.
Oh.
But
And
Now there's zero. We've got Copilot.
I was about to say,
No,
we're going the
now
wrong way.
intelligence gets normalized.
Right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because
yeah.
now an individual, I mean, I can, without learning Photoshop, I can do wonders.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you put it that way. It's
Yeah.
like when you
You
go
don't need to
outside on a
learn
sunny
stuff.
day and you see the moon, and you realise how insignificant we are, because the universe.
Well,
right, we're on a ball and we don't fall off. And it's when, as you just said, you're normalised.
Yeah.
That your day to day or your passions or your hobbies or your work
Because all of a sudden you're just
is now
it's now defined
your
by your
sidekick.
it's defined by your ability to type.
Yeah. and
No, if
that's-
I ask my
engineering.
niece who types and speaks emoji,
Mhm.
then we're all gonna we're okay, but with the last generation who's gonna be fully able to type. She speaks fluent emoji. LOL. I'd laugh out loud.
But Pramod's just, I mean, you literally after this is what show 19.
yeah.
A lot of AI, a lot of cybersecurity, a lot of
There's a
deep
clear
fakes.
trend, right?
That has really, just for me, like goosebumps, just gone. Wow. I mean, you've
Yeah.
literally gone from the decimal cent of people that were intelligent to
Now
anybody with
hang on.
a little bit of common sense.
Here's the best
and
definition.
Copilot.
We're all part of the Borg.
We're all part of the Matrix.
We're all assimilated and plugged in.
That's
right?
quite scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not suggesting. I'm sorry
Yeah,
if I
sorry.
may. We're very guilty of talking over. I do apologise. I'll get murdered for this.
So we've got governance process, and we're talking AI.
Tries on.
I'm the one who reels him in.
Yeah. So how Copilot will normalize is the skills.
Yeah.
Right. So now we have a high demand of good digitalization skills in the market, but with introducing the Copilot will helps to fast track, because now literally you can get a person onboarded very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and half of the pseudocode is written, or maybe the code
Yeah,
can
low
be
or no
written.
code.
Yeah. exactly. No code and
Yeah.
no code.
Lower no
You've
code.
got a degree of validation there. You have pace, speed. So there's business benefits. You have data benefits. So all AI is driving the right thing. Sorry, and I imagine all the way through. I mean, can AI do data governance or
I cannot do data governance, unfortunately.
It still requires a
but
flesh
it
of
will
human.
tell
My
you-
next job. Ring the bell.
Yeah, yeah,
Data governance, come to me.
Yeah, these are the jobs to go for, right?
But at least it'll give you the guidance,
Yeah.
what needs to be done. Let me finish the Copilot.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
Yeah,
please,
please.
do.
So basically, it will help you to bring the product quicker to the market with less
Yeah.
bugs. So
Wow.
you don't see any blue windows.
Okay.
Have a look up there. No signal.
Yeah, so that could really help, and that's how we can see
Yeah.
how Copilot is gonna help us out.
Yep.
So right now, for example, in analytics space, Python, SQLs,
Yeah.
front-end Java development.
Yeah, these are the jobs I worry about. Yeah.
We won't worry about, but I mean, we don't get people in the market right now with those highly skilled programmers.
Oh, because you mean as in there's so much in demand.
demand.
I
Yes.
see.
So
Okay.
now
Data,
Copilot will
yeah,
help.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I do worry. I mean, I've seen Chat GPT and Copilot. I've seen them code. It's
Yeah,
I mean, because
really,
Copilot's
really
still got to have
cool stuff.
databases that it's feeding its
Yeah,
algorithms
yeah, yeah.
into, which are built on SQL
Yeah.
queries and what have you. So
Mhm.
you're fortunate that way.
and they've said Google no, Chat GPT no, Copilot no, Chat GPT passed the Google exam, can get earn 180 grand a month, 180 grand a month, 180 grand a
Yeah.
year. The capabilities there.
So we're talking. So we've gone through the governance to the processes
Yeah.
to AI involved. To you're doing a pilot, okay?
Yeah.
So the pilot's going to govern how well it's fed, because you're going to get resistance,
Yeah, of
regardless. And what kind of resistance do you experience in terms of not people, not hyper automating, not
Mm-hmm.
using AI, but just resistance in general?
Mm-hmm.
Before you get to the fact that you own this data, and if it's bobbins,
Yeah, resistance. I mean, it's a more of a mindset adoption.
Right, yeah.
nice.
yeah.
You're doing it. Donuts in the morning.
Yeah. Unfortunately, people. I mean, as a human psychology,
Yes. Yeah.
change is not comfortable for everyone. So adopting digitalization in a department, it's a mindset change.
Yep.
And what do they fear?
Lose of job.
And you're gonna say that, yeah.
I mean, but actually, it will enhance your job. It enhance your
If
productivity.
I know.
if you onboard it,
Yeah, what
and
do they
utilize
say?
it, yeah.
People,
Exactly.
AI won't replace you, but if you don't use AI, it will replace
it will
you.
replace you,
Yeah.
which makes sense.
Yeah, no, of course. So all back to the point.
It's the same as
Augments
training.
your role,
If
augments
you-
your skills.
Yeah, I mean, all of us have been in
Yeah.
similar careers for
Yeah.
our professional lives. And in project management, you had to go and do a Prince 2, or
Yeah.
we all had to do ITIL,
Yeah.
or you go and do PMP, or you do a CSC, or
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to do it. It's just now it just makes it.
But
And
normalising.
imagine responsible AI. So when I was
It's in the pub. Sorry, Pramod.
Yeah. So imagine if you are expected to deliver a code, you have to work long hours.
Yeah.
And if you're getting some X amount of dollars as your monthly salary, imagine if I say you need to work 20 hours a week and you get the same salary.
Mm,
What's there not to like?
yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the AI could cater. So embracing a new technology, work smart.
Well, it checks it. You know, especially when you've got low
Yeah.
code.
Yeah.
That's fine, and there's no embedded code.
Yeah.
But it you get AI now to check AI. So I wrote
Yeah.
my song album titles and lyrics for an album.
But
And
you
then
didn't
I've got
publish
AI
it.
to go back in and check it.
Yeah,
for,
right, so
You should go to suno.com and it can you just do a
It's a
prompt.
solution,
That's right,
whatever,
yeah.
like-
So you can have the AI song.
AI checks AI. Yeah, thankfully
Yeah,
they can't play
well,
guitar.
they do say ChatGPT writes ChatGPT.
It's crazy.
'Cause
Again, it's like standing outside and you see the moon.
Yeah.
There's another planet there, another star there,
Yeah.
and we're floating on a ball.
Yeah.
If that doesn't put anyone's mind into an array,
No.
or you look at the stars at night when it's not smog in the city and you go, wow, why are we here?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
quite insignificant.
Yeah.
Then you delve into how technology's going now,
Mm-hmm.
and with the onset of AI, I love it. I think it's fabulous.
Yeah, 'cause
and if it wants to replace me, as long as I get a retirement plan, I'm not bothered.
Yeah, you're on a kick in the nuts off to retirement anyway. 15 years. But maybe by then it will get scary. And my biggest fear, and here's a kind of oxymoron. I'm scared of what's coming.
I'm scared for the new generation because I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we're the
yeah.
last generation
Yeah, yeah.
of. We've
Having to learn to
seen
type.
we've seen
Yeah.
hard work. We've seen digitization.
Yeah.
We've seen infrastructure change. We've seen mobiles turn into computers.
Yep.
And now we're going into a super tech.
generation.
Now we're going to a hyper automated age of life.
Yeah.
Minority Report. It's here.
I mean, there are
It's
many.
here.
We've always said there are many films that have called this out before.
And Minority Report is one of them.
The one thing, pre-justice. What was it called? Pre-murder? No, the one with you could,
We know you're going to kill someone before you've killed them.
So we're going to come and huckle you. But there's a bunch of other things that I just fear won't be needed, and we're going to end up with a significant proportion of people that can't look after themselves or have no ability to because they can't sell, because they've got their skills have been replaced. Now I'm told all the time it's not going to be like that. I think it bloody well is.
So we're looking. I mean, we always go on a tangent. You know,
Yeah.
we looked at the data, the governance, the processes, the AI, and then moving into the what was the word?
Getting value out of it, or
No, the actual. You've gone from this
You have to be
percentile to.
Also, compliance is very important because
yeah.
that's a bit of there because you have GDPR
Yeah.
and
Oh, NIS2's coming. That's when AI takes over completely because nobody's ready. Nobody's got the security in place, and then Copilot will talk to Cortana. Cortana's retired, so she'll hire the Master Chief. The Master Chief will come down on a.
We did learn
on a
last week that
Pelican.
Cortana's since been retired. I was quite surprised at
It's a
that.
great name, Cortana, but it is from a game from
Yeah.
Halo, which is on the Xbox. I love Xbox.
Yeah.
Mm.
And,
sorry to
anyway,
hear that.
we've moved away from where you were with that.
Yeah, so compliance is also an important topic because as part of the responsible.
Yeah.
Is that swaggy? Your food's there.
Long story there.
Yeah, so as part of it, you just need to ensure that the compliance is very, very important because sometimes they use the data. And for example, if I use the data, if I build a model and if I implement it in a warehouse, for example,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and if I give work just only to my right hand for the picker or packers, then my right hand muscles is overworked.
I
But
see.
I can use a responsible AI to ensure that I can distribute the
load
list
or
of
the work,
materials
yeah.
so
Yeah.
that all my muscles are worked out.
Uh-huh.
I mean, bear in mind, we're talking about the world's biggest logistics company.
Yeah.
We're not talking like, I know IT
But
services, we work in the IT industry,
Yeah.
but what we do empowers planes taking off, ships going, posts,
In a very
post-
efficient,
Deutsche Post,
green way. That sort of
and,
stuff.
and
Yeah.
it must really help the supply chain of
Exactly.
things when there's a problem. So now the technology talks to the technology. It doesn't talk to a weights and scales person who's fallen asleep or a cigarette's burnt in his hand.
Scales takes me back.
Weights and scales. Yeah. It,
Pramod, it's got to that point in the podcast where we
good and
have
the
to
bad.
ask you. Yeah, we always kind
so
of
this,
end.
this is Kenny's.
It's kind of mine. We always like to end positively, and I always ask for 3 predictions of where you think your world, your role, your technology is going.
Good and bad. Good
Yeah,
and bad. There's one good,
I mean,
one bad, and then a summary.
Give me, let's do 1 bad and 2 good. Should we do that? Keep the balance.
I wouldn't say bad because
Negative?
I wouldn't say negative because nothing
that's
to
okay.
fear.
That's okay.
Because again, like I mean, there was an analogy I was reading, like when we had industrial revolution.
Mm-hmm.
They say, oh, we got the computers. That
And
computers
that-
gonna
of course that
replace
never happened.
everything. But look at it,
Yeah.
it
Nothing happened.
revolutionized.
Good point. Like it.
So it's like, how do you see it? You can argue both
Mm-hmm.
positive and negative.
Yep.
But look at the positive side of things. So similarly, AI, if it's going to have a huge, let's say it's going to have a revolutionize
Yep.
your productivity and digitize everything. So imagine, I was reading an article, UAE.
Yep.
If you're a citizen of UAE, you can get your passport renewed in 10 minutes at the airport.
I might have been there.
Ah.
Yeah, and yeah,
Really?
you can get your passport
Yeah.
in 10 minutes. Yeah.
10 minutes.
Now that's a good service.
That's
Yeah.
a good service. That digitalized service. So imagine things can do. So
I mean, they really are at the forefront of.
yes.
I mean, that's just
just-
is great.
That's
I mean,
by the way, that's
for me as a
that's
Brit,
that's in your hand.
that's yeah. Can Brit living abroad?
Brilliant.
They don't have an embassy where I live,
Yeah.
so I have to send it to the UK. Then I have to send my old passport, which means I can't travel.
Yeah.
Then wait for that to come back, and it might not. And if you could just, I mean,
That's just brilliant, right?
But from your industry, the industry you work in logistics, I can only see good things.
Yeah.
Apart from mechanical failures, which you can't stop in a boat, a plane, a postman's pipe, or a bicycle, an
Oh, but
electric
yeah,
bike,
yeah.
Or what have you.
It can only help, right?
It can only help.
Yeah, for example, preventive maintenance or predictive maintenance. You
Yeah.
hear the frequency of, let's say you're in hub, you hear the frequency, and imagine if the frequency is kind of disturbed, then you might say, oh yeah, you need a man to fix it next week.
Yeah,
Otherwise it's
You,
gonna
so you,
run down.
and I love and I hear it a lot. You become more predictable. You can forecast things. Costs are lower.
Yeah.
Downtime's lower. More efficiency. I mean, it's. I hear you. I really
Yeah.
do.
I only see positive aspects of AI and nothing.
Unless
to
your
worry.
data is shit and then you're fired.
If
you
you
own
wrong
it.
prediction. Yes.
I predict, Pramod, you've fucked up.
Yeah.
We're hiring.
Exactly. Yeah. Nah, I think AI will fix AI. So cool.
Well, AI cannot fix everything.
No, nor do we expect
That's
it
a
to.
wrong
But I
notion.
suspect, I suspect that's coming. You know,
It's crazy what zeros and ones can do, isn't it?
back in the day when the telephones used to be
Binary code.
you used to, Morse code. That's somewhere where it all started. So with that in mind, we're going to wrap up. We are a little bit, not quite out of time, but we're just going to wrap up here. But Pramod, my friend, thank you for the insight.
Thanks so much for inviting me.
Data.
Please come back.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was,
of
it
course,
was
tell-
great.
come back, tell us some
on that
stories.
note, if you're interested in anything in terms of digitization or how it empowers logistics, data governance, owning your data,
Very
I didn't say
important.
it. I didn't say it. Pramod
Yeah.
did. Please put your comments in the box below. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to welcome Pramod back again. Thank you to Xtelligence.com that
For
powers
sponsoring us, yep.
InfoMattersPodcast.com, not cat. And again, if you want to win some goodies from mouse pads to umbrellas to a trip to Mars, just ring the
Learn and
bell.
subscribe. And for episode 21, we will see you very soon.
21.
Take care.
I thought it was 19.
21.
He's 19.
I'll try that again. So
Okay, it's
20.
good night from me, and it's good night from him.
No, I'm going to say, no, let's do that. No, and we'll see you next time for episode 20.
20,
Why not?
yeah,
It's
he
20.
can have that.
No,
She's
that's 20
19.
Thursday. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have an AI to answer? Is it?
You see the point. I should be AI'd out.
Oi, talk to me. Technology doesn't work anymore.
Episode 20 or 21, we'll file them out. We'll ask
We'll
guys.
follow
to
that
help
out.
us.
It's
See
good
you
night
next
for
time.
us.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys.